Hey folks, Alan Manick, the Hot Rod Hippie here. This week's video, we're taking a look at a fine-tooth ratchet with 100 teeth for under $20. Let's check it out. Now in previous videos, we've taken a look at a couple of different ratchets, whether it be fine-tooth ratchets from Matco or Snap-on, some really cheap junk one from Amazon, or a zero-tooth one with no teeth whatsoever from Snap-on Tools. However, those fine-tooth ratchets that I've shown you previously were professional grade ratchets. They were expensive ratchets, and I understand that. So I wanted to go ahead and show you a more affordable option for do-it-yourselfers, maybe for a home one. You have the expensive pro-grade stuff at work, but you don't want to cart it back and forth to the home shop or to your house just to do some little projects. What I ended up settling on was the Husky 100 tooth low profile ratchet. Now the version I have here is the 5-inch long 1/4-inch drive teardrop ratchet. Now they do call this 100 tooth ratchet a low profile design. I measured it and compared it to my Matco ratchet, which is my primary personal favorite 1/4-inch ratchet. Comparing the two of them, it's actually pretty close. Looking at the Husky ratchet, it appears beefier and huskier, but it really isn't that much thicker. Measuring from the front of the drive pin to the backside of the head, the Husky ratchet measures in at 0.798 inch. The Matco ratchet, conversely, measures in at 0.720 inch. It's over a 1/16 of an inch difference, but really that's not a huge difference. Let's take a look at what's inside of this ratchet. Once I break down the actual teardrop ratchet design, you can see that inside of there is a 50-tooth gear drive. The reason it's called a 100 tooth is the double drive pawl design. What's happening inside of this ratchet is you have a 50-tooth main gear, then you have 2 drive pawls. The pawls are what engage the drive mechanism, hold it in place, and lock it in so that as you're turning it, applying force, the ratchet can transfer that force into the socket, the bolt, whatever you're working with. Having a dual pawl design means that it has 2 different pawls that engage at different times. So every time you're ratcheting this ratchet, one pawl or the other is engaging that drive gear, effectively turning a 50-tooth gear mechanism into a 100-tooth ratchet. Now something like my 88-tooth Matco ratchet, inside of there is a single pawl design. That has a true real-world 88-tooth gear. The reason you might want a single pawl over a double pawl is that single pawl is engaging the full width of the drive gear at any given time. The double pawl design can only engage a maximum of half of that drive gear at any given time, effectively technically reducing the actual overall torque limit of the ratchet. Now if you were to real world test that, would that be half the strength of the Matco ratchet? I can't say for sure. I don't have the torque testing setup where I could really apply the force and break this thing and see what happens, and more than likely I would probably break the drive pin before I would actually break the pawl or the gear itself. Something else about this ratchet is it has the button release mechanism. A lot of folks coming from, say, a Craftsman ratchet love this. Professional grade ratchets do not have the push button release for the socket release. This is something a lot of folks, when they go to a professional grade ratchet, they miss. Well, how do I get the socket off there? Well, you just pull it off, plain and simple. You get used to it quite quickly. And there is a really good reason that a professional grade ratchet does not have this button. The reason is strength. That button means that there's actually a rod running down the middle of this drive pin that releases the ball that holds the socket on. So effectively, you've got a hole down the middle of this whole drive gear. That means that the actual drive pin, the anvil, does not have as much material as a professional grade ratchet does. A professional grade ratchet sure does not have that release button, but it also doesn't have that hole down the middle, making the drive pin weaker. Now the design of this ratchet is very similar to the Matco ratchet. It has a teardrop head design, a sheet metal plate that holds the gear mechanism and lubrication in, as well as having the snap ring you remove to disassemble a setup. That is, however, where the similarities end. This ratchet is made in China, and you can understand that at the $20 price point that this thing comes in at. However, a 100-tooth ratcheting mechanism, that's a 3.6 degree swing arc. That means you can get into a very tight area and ratchet nice and tight. If you're in a tight door panel, under dash area, engine compartment, and you need to ratchet and barely get a little turn on that nut, bolt, whatever you're working on, this is the kind of tool you need at your side. And of course, this ratchet has a lifetime warranty that comes with it. So now, real world use of this ratchet, well, it's a ratchet. I turned some bolts with it, I broke some bolts loose on the supercharger of it I have sitting up on the shelf here. Don't know if you ever noticed, but there's actually a 471 supercharger on the shelf, always in my videos. I broke some bolts loose on that I had never broken loose because I haven't rebuilt that thing yet, and it did it just fine. I had to beat on it with my hand a little bit to break it loose because it's only a 5-inch, quarter-inch drive ratchet, and those are 5/16 bolts, but it held up just fine. Now, I have been using this ratchet more than that. That's just the only thing that I filmed to show you. I've used it on a few projects around the house and at the shop, and overall, it hasn't skipped a beat. It has held up, it hasn't skipped teeth at any point, it hasn't locked up that I've been worried about, where it was impossible to flip from one setting to the other, anything like that. The thing has worked flawlessly in my testing. So let's go ahead and get to the point here. What do I really think of this ratchet? Honestly, I'm impressed with it. For $20, I could really see this being a great home ratchet, do-it-yourself ratchet, or even a beginner shop ratchet for a professional just getting into the business. What I don't like about this thing is I'm not a big fan of a double pawl ratchet design. As I said before in my little explanation, that technically means that this thing is weaker than, say, a single pawl ratchet should be on paper. But then, in my personal testing, I haven't twisted it, I haven't damaged it yet, so maybe I'm just reading too much into things there. I don't love that the thing's made overseas, but for $20, I most certainly expect that to be the case. I also do not love that the Husky branding is only kind of laser etched or printed on there. I can't even tell if it's actually laser etched on there, because that identifying mark can wear off over time. As that stuff gets worn off, you have to wonder if you take it in to get warrantied, are they going to honor that warranty if they can't identify it? So that is a concern with this. I don't love seeing that that's just on there. I can't even feel it, so I'm betting it's kind of just printed on there. I did try a little bit of carb cleaner and it didn't wipe that off, but that's not to say that that won't happen over time. Something else I don't love about this ratchet is the black finish. Sure, it kind of looks cool, and I understand they want to differentiate between this ratchet and their 72 tooth ratchets, but the black is not going to stand out. If you're in a dark door panel, you're under an engine bay, you've got it on top of the engine cover, on the radiator support, something like that, I leave chrome ratchets and chrome extensions lying around sometimes. This black one is just going to blend in. Also, it kind of has just a little bit of a texture to it, not quite enough to give you a good grip, but enough that I feel like it's going to hold grease and oil a little bit too much. That's one of the nice things about a nice chrome finish. It wipes off clean and easy. I am pretty anal about cleaning my ratchets continually. I clean all my tools quite often because I just can't stand grabbing a tool and having a tool make me dirty before I even use it. So in the end, would I recommend this ratchet? I absolutely would. I have to say that I am impressed with this little thing. It's beefier than I expected it was going to be. The ratcheting mechanism hasn't let me down yet. It's got that nice tight ratcheting arc that I'm expecting from a good ratchet like this. It's got that fine tooth ratcheting mechanism. It's got what seems to be a robust design, a lifetime warranty. I picked it up at Home Depot. I was able to just go walk in, pick it up, and walk out. After paying, obviously. And if you need to get it repaired, that lifetime warranty is honored at every Home Depot you're going to come across. At the end of the day, I personally still see the value in picking up a professional grade ratchet like a Matco, a Snap-on, something like that, but this really is a pretty darn good option on the market. Also, the 100 tooth ratcheting mechanism is available in a 3/8 drive and a 1/2 inch drive ratchet as well. They had flex head in the 3/8 and 1/2 inch drive, as well as an extendable handle 3/8 one. I just wanted to pick up the basic one to really take a look at the smaller components, see what I really thought of the design before I took a look at the bigger ones. Alright folks, that has been the Husky 1/4 inch 100 tooth low profile ratchet. Go ahead and drop the video a like if you found this video interesting. Let me know in the comments down below. Do you have one of these ratchets? Do you have some other fine tooth ratchet you think I should take a look at? I know I've had a few suggestions along the way. This is just the one that I was most intrigued by and wanted to take a look at what was inside of it the most. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel for more content like this every week. Thanks for coming around, folks.